We would now like to start the regular press conference by Minister Hayashi. The Minister, the floor is yours.
Yes, there is nothing from my part. So we would like to accept questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. And if you're designated, please come to the nearby microphone. So Abe-san from Yomiuri Shimbun. Yes, this is Hate from Yomiuri Shimbun. The coordinator in Indo-Pacific, Dr. Kurt Campbell of the United States, have made a speech, and that Japan and Australia will be participating in the new framework of cooperation in the Indo-Pacific that has been proposed. So how will Japan be involved in this? Now, as to the statement made by Dr. Campbell, yes, I am aware of that. But as to diplomatic communications, I would like to refrain from mentioning them. As for Japan, with the Pacific island nations, we have enjoyed a very long-standing friendly relationships through the Palm Pacific Islands Leaders Meeting and others, so we have been deepening our cooperation. In order to realize free and open Indo-Pacific, Pacific Island nations are important in this regard. So, together with the United States, Australia, and New Zealand, who are also involved in this region, as Japan is doing, we will be coordinating in depth. And in early May, I have visited Fiji and Palau. I have reaffirmed the importance of this region. So, continuously, based upon the needs and requirements of the Pacific Island nations, we would like to proceed with the cooperation, the riding on the strength of Japan, and we would like to strengthen our close partnership with the relevant countries.
Abe-san, please. Abe from Yomiuri newspaper. Related to the previous question, as the minister mentioned, the strength of Japan. Last year at the Pacific Island Leaders Meeting, the prevention of disaster and infrastructure, these were the area that you summed up to support. Moving forward, concretely, in which areas, what kind of contribution would you like to make as Japan into this region? Yes, as you correctly mentioned, through this summit, the PALM, by capturing the counterparts' needs, we have been taking actions, so including the disaster prevention in such areas. And when I visited Palau the other day, there was an opening ceremony of the airport terminal, which I attended. I think things will all depend on the COVID-19, but when we are able to have free exchanges of people or free movement of the people, I think a various exchange of people will become possible. I'm sure that they have their own needs. What's key is to provide a cooperation which meets the need of the counterpart by leveraging the strength of Japan. But at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, the U.S., Europe, and New Zealand, and U.S., Australia, and New Zealand, we need to collaborate with those countries. That's the key. Next question, please.
Next question from GG Press, Tanaka-san. Yes, this is Tanaka from GG Press. On development cooperation, I would like the next question. In the basic policy as determined by the government this month, and at the Shangri-La Dialogue, you have also sent a message of this policy. The development cooperation is a diplomatic tool, but acquiring the necessary budget, what may be your motivation to try to expand your cooperation going forward? Now, at the Shangri-La Dialogue, which was held recently, Prime Minister Kishida has mentioned on the free and open Indo-Pacific to be made into reality. We will be proceeding with the international cooperation through ODA in an efficient as well as in a effective and in a strategic manner. So we will be expanding official development assistance in trying to further strengthened our diplomatic cooperation in trying to further expand the tools of diplomacy. And ODA is one of the important tools for the diplomatic activity. So with the support of the ruling party, the government will make all-out efforts to further expand the cooperation. And as the international order has been dramatically changing, we need to think about the international cooperation, which is in step with the request and needs of the time. So we are thinking of considering such policy.
Sankei Sugimoto-san, please. I'm Sugimoto from Sankei. The other day on the 15th in New York, there was the CLCS committee member election, and Professor Yamazaki of Tokyo University was re-elected. What is the government take? What is your take? And moving away from this election, the significance of this commission on the limit of the continental shelf, Okinotorishima Island and South Asian Sea, South China Sea. What is the importance of this CLCS commission? On June 16th, local time, on the 15th, in the UN headquarters, New York, there was the CLCS election took place, and the incumbent Professor Toshitsugu Yamazaki of the Tokyo University was re-elected. In 2017 and onward, Professor Yamazaki had served as the committee member of the CLCS, and this time he will serve as the second term, which will be until June 2028 for 5 years. As a result of the re-election, based on the UNCLOS, CLCS was established based on the international law. When the country decides the limitation of the extension of the continental shelf, this committee plays a very important role as the maritime nation. By sending excellent committee member to the CLCS, Japan would like to promote the work to establish the continental shelf limit on coastal countries, and we want to actively contribute to the development of the maritime law and order. Next question, please.
Next question, please. So from Asahi Shimbun. This is Nobe from Asahi Shimbun. Prime Minister Kishida, towards the end of this month, for the first time, as the Japanese leader, will be attending a NATO conference, as Russia has invaded Ukraine. As Minister Hayashi has been mentioning, Japan is trying to strengthen our cooperation with the NATO. The NATO is an organization mainly for the Western countries. So once again, if you could explain to us what is the relevance and significance for Japan. I myself, in the April, in the partner session of NATO foreign ministerial meeting, for the first time as a Japanese foreign minister in history, I have attended this meeting, not only on the Ukrainian developments, but the securities of Europe and Asia are closely related. We were able to have the very productive discussion on this issue. Now, Prime Minister is planning to attend the NATO conference. For the securities of Europe and Indo-Pacific cannot be separated. They are inseparable. And how to respond to the Russian aggression against Ukraine, and in order to realize free and open Indo-Pacific, we will be affirming our solidarity with NATO and to strengthen our close partnership. We would like to take this opportunity to make this happen. Of course, I will not prejudge what may be actually discussed, but looking at the current international situation, including the Ukraine, as it is increasingly difficult, and also the security environment in the Pacific is also increasingly difficult. We would like to discuss on how we should move forward for cooperation with NATO and partner countries and other institutions.
TBS Nakamura-san, please. I'm Nakamura from TBS. So about the rezoning of the single-seat constituency of there was a change. And as for Yamazaki Prefecture that you belong to, there was a decision to change. A number of constituencies will change from 4 to 3. And the third district that you belong to is also going to be demarcated. Can you give us your take, please? As to this question, I am the member of the government, so I would like to refrain from mentioning concrete comments.
And this is all for the conference for today. Thank you.